Several TV shows have bad episodes, the series SpongeBob SquarePants being no exception. One Course Meal is an especially infamous episode coming from season 7 of the show, and it's not hard to see why. In it, Mr. Krabs learns that his arch-rival, Plankton, is deathly afraid of whales, so he decides to disguise himself as his adopted daughter, Pearl, and scare the little copepod to his heart's content. Eventually, Plankton, having been consumed by his fears, decides to lay down on the road in a not-so-subtle adult joke. After the episode's release, many hardcore fans of the Little Yellow Sponge were incensed by it. Many considered it nothing but pure torture for the main antagonist of the series, to the point he was willing to end his suffering. The fact that the show tried to downplay something as finalistic as suicide was also met with negative reception, with this proving not to be the only time something as touchy was used for crude laughs. Others believe the episode further exemplified Mr. Krabs' decline as a character. For those not aware, Mr. Krabs used to be a likable character. While greedy, much so that he once traded his fry-cooked soul for pocket change, Mr. Krabs was nevertheless a father figure and showed that he cared for his two employees in his own way. However, as the show progressed, Mr. Krabs became greed incarnate, exemplifying the stereotype of business owners being corrupt Scrooges and penny pitchers. One Course Meal quenched the audience's belief that the red crustacean was an irredeemable monster who always got away with his illegal activities, which is why some dedicated fans decided to take matters into their own hands. I can remember it clearly. There was once a forum devoted to all things SpongeBob related, or at least I could call it one on principle. The website was very amateurish and low quality, with a jumbled layout of DVD covers of the multiple seasons and other collectible items all plastered on a hideously green background with the words SpongeBob Fans United in bold, unsightly font. It didn't help that it would flash at odd intervals, making the site more of an eyesore. Given its state, it would buffer and sometimes be excruciating to navigate through. As you would expect, One Course Meal was viciously despised by the small community and would often come up in conversations as the butt of a joke to further demonize it. There was a contest that was conducted by the website's owner, someone who used the username FryCookFan23 on the episode. The contest was a simple one. Make an alternate ending of the episode where Krabs gets his comeuppance, with it being left vague how far the contestants could go in depicting it. Due to the website's poor quality, there were only about 4 people who took part in the activity. Admittedly, I cannot recall 3 of the entries. They were honestly not good. Videos animated in MS Paint with crude drawings of the characters that not even the toddler would claim as their own. Childish pics of Krabs being boiled alive in a pot, Krabs getting stabbed, or Krabs losing the Krusty Krab made up most of the content and were so confusing that it was abysmal to think that they thought it would be worthy of winning, even in regards to how disorganized the main website was. But there was one video that did not suffer the issues of the others. I could not remember the name of the artist nor what their avatar was. However, they could have easily been an employee who assisted in the show's design because of how talented the animator was. Body proportions were on point, the color scheme was top notch, it was the most faithful interpretation of the Nicktoon if there ever was one. Honestly, I wish they were the ones who created the website as a demonstration of their talent. The video started with the normal intro of the show remastered right on down to SpongeBob using his nose as a flute. It begins as it did in canon with Mr. Krabs enjoying a money bath until he smelled something burning. From there it turns out to be yet another one of Plankton's harebrained schemes to get the Krabby Patty formula, his reason for living. All seemed lost until Krabs' sperm whale daughter marched in, frightening the cephalopod. Seeing this gave the red crab an idea. After Plankton explains his phobia to his computer wife Karen, Plankton is relentlessly pursued by Pearl. Even doing mundane tasks like taking the trash out was becoming impossible for the self-proclaimed evil genius to do with the Acetacan popping out at every opportunity. It got to the point that Plankton became disheveled, with growing facial hair and long claw-like fingernails to represent his descent into madness. It is there where we learn that it was Mr. Krabs the entire time. He laughs to himself, amused by how much of a wreck his former friend had become. Then we get to the most controversial part of the episode. Plankton gets down on the road and sprawls out on his back, waiting for a bus to put him out of his misery. SpongeBob notices this and goes to confront Plankton out of concern for him. After failing to reassure the little green sea creature, SpongeBob goes to his boss to report on what is happening. As in canon, Mr. Krabs laughs it off, but in this version, SpongeBob, who would typically follow his boss's orders, snapped and grabbed him by the collar of his shirt and yelled at him, ranting how he would be held accountable should anything happen to Plankton. While they spoke, SpongeBob caught a boat flying down in the corner of his eye. The two panicked, and without much thought, they rushed out screaming at the top of their lungs. Plankton, hearing all the commotion, arched his back to stare at the two. Before they could get to him, the car's front wheels collided with Plankton's body, with the screen becoming dark with nothing but the sound of brakes and Krabs and SpongeBob's distress. The next scene was of Plankton's funeral. As to be expected, it was held at the Chum Bucket and the restaurant was swarmed by his hillbilly cousins. Amongst the grieving, however, the most vocal was Karen, who took it out of herself to feel regret for not taking her husband seriously. Whatever was left of the bottom feeder was thankfully closed underneath the coffin that Karen caressed in her hands. Her wails became more tense and raw, and I forgot this was a fan project instead of the actual show. The doors of the Chum Bucket opened and in stepped Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Squidward, all dressed in black, but each having a different reaction to the events. SpongeBob still appeared shell-shocked at what had happened, while Mr. Krabs' eyes shot back and forth with beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. It probably was not in his best interest to attend the funeral of his nemesis, but he couldn't shake the feeling that it was slightly his fault for what happened. Before the Reverend could begin the funeral process, Karen angrily rolled her wheels in Mr. Krabs' direction and nearly pounced on him, only for SpongeBob and Squidward to hold her back. Her words had such venom in them that even I felt a wave of chills down my spine.
You have some nerve coming here, Krabs.
Listen, it was not my intention for that to happen to Plankton. You have to believe me.
You kept torturing my husband day after day until he could barely focus on anything. And for what? Because he tries to steal your formula? Maybe once I can see that. But tell me, Krabs, did it not even occur to you that you should stop?
Mr. Krabs opened his mouth to say something, but he slammed it shut out of fear he would be making the situation worse. Karen's face contorted in anger much more than she would display prior, with her typically green facial features growing boiling red. A few of Plankton's cousins backed away if Karen blew a fuse.
You should be lucky that the jury deemed that you could be held responsible for Plankton's death, since you did not intend on the boat.
Karen stopped to sigh.
I hope you're happy now, and that your Krabby Patty formula was so damn important that you thought terrorizing my husband was worth it.
Mr. Krabs wanted to muscle up a rebuttal, but he understood that he was not welcome. He stared at Plankton's coffin for the last time before he, SpongeBob, and Squidward left the Chum Bucket. Mr. Krabs was laying in his hammock that night, his mind thinking back to the funeral and how hostile Karen was to him. He shook his head. Obviously, she had good reason to be sore at him since it was his fault that she would end up outliving her husband. He looked down at his claws, imagining that Plankton's blood was staining them. Arrgh, that computer was right. Was it really worth it all? A part of him couldn't help but admit that he would miss the miscreant. After all, they were friends years back, and they let a sandwich come in between them because they argued over who was the mastermind behind the creation of the perfect patty batter. Unable to sleep, Mr. Krabs got off his hammock and went over to his nightstand. Bending down, Mr. Krabs wrapped his claws around a drawer and pulled it open to reveal an old picture of him and Plankton. He stared at it for a few seconds with some audible sniffles. If only things were different. Mr. Krabs walked to the bathroom to wash his face to feel slightly better. Yawning, Mr. Krabs flipped the switch and approached the sink. The crustacean yawned into his claw again as he heard a gentle pooling of water. Scooping it into his claws, Krabs dosed his face with the cool liquid once, twice, 3 times until he was satisfied. Sighing, Mr. Krabs reached for a towel to dry himself off. As he was preparing to go back to bed, he caught something at the corner of his eye that made his heart skip a beat. Plankton? Is that you? In the mirror was the copepod, a pale, ghostly wraith with his bottom half flattened by the wheels of the boat and with the marks still present on his body. Plankton's eye was glazed over and shackles around his body weighing him down. Krabs! Krabs fell to the floor and rolled into a fetal position. Plankton! No! I'm sorry! You killed me! Plankton pointed at Krabs with a hint of anger present in his voice. You sent me to Davy Jones' locker, Krabs! The red sheepskate clasped his claws together. It's not my fault! You shouldn't have tried to steal me formula! Plankton continued to point at Krabs in an accusatory fashion. You will see me again, old friend! With that, Plankton's likeness dissipated from the mirror. True to his word, the ghost of Plankton would return again and again to torment his rival. During one instance of this, Mr. Krabs was in his office counting his money per usual when he saw Plankton's ghost face through his window. While SpongeBob was flipping a Krabby Patty, Mr. Krabs burst into the room. Before SpongeBob could reply, Mr. Krabs took him to his office demanding that he look around for any signs of a ghost.
I'm sorry, Mr. Krabs,
SpongeBob started.
but don't you think this is all in your head?
Boy, are you saying that I'm crazy? Mr. Krabs' eyes darted back and forth. I ain't! I can see you here and now, Plankton! Show yourself! Before SpongeBob's eyes, Mr. Krabs started to make a wreck of his office, flipping his treasure chest decks and tearing down wallpaper to find a ghostly invertebrate, to no avail. SpongeBob went to Squidward to tell him about Mr. Krabs' insanity, but Squidward was obviously tuned out to what was happening, blandly saying that as long as his paycheck was unaffected, he didn't care. Throughout the day, Mr. Krabs remained in his office while he barricaded with anti-ghost material seen from the episode Pranks-A-Lot. The scene transitioned to Mr. Krabs doing basic activities like taking out the trash, and each time he was alone, Plankton would return, sending the crab running back inside the restaurant and appointing either SpongeBob or Squidward with checking it out, only for them to miss out on seeing the Phantom again and again. Squidward sighed as he saw the mailman leave something in the mail. Mr. Krabs, mail is here. Mr. Krabs, much like Plankton, sat in the dark of his office, his claws having developed long fingernails, and his feet were slipped into tissue boxes. Arrgh, can you get it for me, Mr. Squidward? It's safer in here. Squidward sighed. What a baby. You don't understand, Mr. Squidward. I see him everywhere. Anytime I'm sleeping, every time when I'm in the bathroom, he's wanting to drag me down to Davy Jones's locker. Mr. Krabs, it's been 2 months now. Plankton is gone. Get over it. Mr. Squidward, please, you have to believe me. I swear over me papa's grave. Squidward slipped 2 tentacles into his ears. I'm not listening. The cephalopod hummed to himself as he left his boss to wallow in his own filth. Mr. Krabs called out to him again and again, but the octopus refused to listen. Fine, I can deal with this myself. Mr. Krabs reached into his decks and withdrew a gun. Plankton! This ends now. Show yourself this instant. Krabs! The greedy crab shot a few rounds. I'm more than ya! Leave me be! Plankton surfaced through the window, the clanging of his shackles filling Mr. Krabs with dread. Krabs, this is the end. Krabs shot a hole clean through the ghostly visage, but there was no effect. Regardless, Mr. Krabs kept firing for dear life, and he started to throw objects at the apparition to slow it down. Go back to Davy Jones' locker, you bastard! There is no escape for you, Krabs! Get back, you freak of nature! Plankton threw around Mr. Krabs. You killed me! Mr. Krabs kept firing. I did not! It was your own fault for lying on the road like an idiot! Krabs! Krabs! The ghostly apparition flew around Krabs' head, repeating his name in an undead fashion. Mr. Krabs flailed his arms like a madman. Stay back! From the outside, SpongeBob was handing Squidward the orders and the customers would come to collect them.
Squidward, do you think we should call a hospital?
Squidward looked at his magazine. Why? Mr. Krabs is perfectly fine.
It's just that he was like that for months now. I'm worried.
SpongeBob, I'm telling you, Mr. Krabs is fine. A shot rained out from the office alerting the two employees. Without much delay, the two ran in to check on the red station. The shot lingered on the reaction to the state his body was in before it sags to the outside of the Krusty Krab, a hologram of Plankton's ghost projected from her screen.
You've been avenged, my love.
From what I remember, the video was warmly received by the website, and I would have said that it was well deserved because of how well animated and acted it was. But that was years ago. When I tried to access the website again to rewatch it, the domain name was sold, and I searched other websites to no avail. I'm fairly certain that a copy exists somewhere, and I'm currently searching for it. And that, my fellow minions, is Plankton's Ghost, a SpongeBob SquarePants creepypasta, and Plankton Got Served rewrite by AustinDR. What do I think about this story? This story was pretty good, in my opinion. The backstory was great because of it being on a fan forum. Krabs gets his comeuppance. Karen gets her revenge on Krabs. And Krabs gets what he deserves. Also, it's a fan project. Everything about this story, it's just good. Like, the beginning to the ending is pretty good. But the grammar and spelling is not really there good-wise. It's like, it's not bad. It could be redone. There's a lot of grammatical errors, spelling errors, stuff like that. That makes it quite confusing for me to read and possibly others to read. Because of how it's just complicated. Plankton and Krabs go through the same shit. Like, Plankton gets suicidal, Krabs gets suicidal. And I like the part where Krabs pulls out a gun and just starts shooting at Plankton's ghost. That's fucking hilarious, man. That's fucking hilarious. It's a really hilarious twist to the creepypasta. It reminds me of one of those YouTube videos where the grandpa goes insane and they start shooting everywhere because they heard noises or something like that. It just brings me joy that the creepypasta had something like that in there. SpongeBob also stands up for himself and actually gives Krabs a piece of his mind. It's all perfect. The first half was good, the second half was good. And the pacing was actually pretty good this time. It was actually pretty good. Very good, very well done. I would recommend this story to anyone. Anyone that likes creepypastas. So, and one course meal is pretty fucking infamous because of how badly written it was. So the fans, getting pissed off about this, decide, hey, what if we just rewrite it and do an alternate ending where Krabs get his comeuppance? Yeah, it was actually a pretty good plot twist there. It's a pretty good plot twist. Pretty good original plot, too. Also, it does make sense after years and years that the website or forum gets shut down and moved and shit, because the internet may be forever, but things get lost on the internet. For example, like the Lost Media Archive, they have things that get lost all the time. So it's not that far-fetched that things get lost on the internet too. So, yeah. It is a pretty good creepypasta. Only thing is the grammatical and spelling errors, as I said earlier. So, yeah, this was a pretty good story, and I would give it a 9 out of 10. So, I'll see you guys next time when we do the Loud House Revamped, chapters 11 through 20, and it's probably going to be a long while before I could get the video out. It's going to be May, probably, so I'll see you guys then.